Hey, America, let's talk history, let's talk ideology. So, if you don't know, there's a company called Prager University. They are a quasi educational content creation company whose mission is to influence the next generation of young conservatives into their way of thinking. Now, I have recently seen a little clip of a program that they did on Christopher Columbus, why it's wrong for Americans to judge Christopher Columbus by the standards of the 21st century in assessing his behavior. Essentially, what they were saying is, hey, Christopher Columbus lived in a time when slavery happened, so we shouldn't judge him for having helped unleash a wave of slavery into the Americas that was tragic and awful. So Prager University wants us to go, hey, you know what? We can't judge Christopher Columbus on our own standards just because we feel queasy about slavery. But here's the problem. The problem is in the form of a man named Bartolomé de las Casas. The problem is in the form of the papal encyclical of 1537, Sublimis Deus, because the Spanish at the time of the conquest of the Americas did not think that slavery was just no big deal. Yes, a huge number of conquistadors came to the Americas and began enslaving the indigenous people at a horrific rate. But Bartolomé de las Casas and a number of other Catholic clergy brought attention to Spaniards back home, back in Europe, as to what the conquistadors were doing, how depraved their behavior was. So much so that the Pope, the Catholic Pope, wrote an encyclical called Sublimis Deus, stating that the indigenous Americans were human beings capable of rationality, who had rights to peace and property, and that therefore should not be sold into slavery. And this was 1537. This was like 50 years after Columbus landed in the Americas. So for the idea for Prager University to say, well, you know, everybody in Catholic Spain was okay with slavery. No, the fuck they weren't. And just to really further drive home the point, if people were so stupid as to misunderstand at the time how bad slavery was, just ask yourself this. How many of the enslavers were willing to be the enslaved?